Imagine the one person who knows every financial secret of a billionaire's empire, the keeper of the books, the guardian of decades of deals, standing in a courtroom and admitting he committed crimes by lying under oath to protect his boss. That's not a hypothetical thriller plot. That happened in Manhattan, and it's sending shockwaves through Donald Trump's legal universe. Alan Weisselberg, the longtime chief financial officer of the Trump Organization and perhaps the man who understood Donald Trump's finances better than anyone else on earth, stood before a judge and pleaded guilty to felony perjury charges. He admitted what legal observers had suspected but couldn't prove until now. He deliberately lied under sworn testimony about Trump's inflated wealth during the former president's civil fraud trial. This isn't Weisselberg's first brush with criminal consequences. In 2022, he pleaded guilty to multiple tax fraud charges and spent 3 months at Rikers Island. Now, he's heading back behind bars for up to 5 months because of his latest guilty plea. But this time, the implications extend far beyond Weisselberg himself. His admission creates a domino effect that threatens to topple the carefully constructed narrative Trump has built about his business empire over decades. The timing couldn't be more significant. These new charges emerged just weeks before Trump faces trial on separate allegations that he falsified business records, Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg's criminal case that has captivated national attention. The New York Times captured the gravity of the situation succinctly. Monday's guilty plea could strengthen Mr. Bragg's hand heading into trial. To understand why this matters so profoundly, we need to grasp who Alan Weisselberg was within the Trump universe. He wasn't a peripheral figure or a recent hire. Weisselberg worked for the Trump Organization for decades, ascending to the position of chief financial officer. He prepared financial statements. He worked on tax returns. He negotiated with banks and insurance companies. If anyone understood the gap between Trump's public claims about his wealth and the actual numbers in the ledgers, it was Weisselberg. And that man just confessed in open court that he committed perjury to protect Trump's inflated financial image. The specific details of what Weisselberg admitted to are damning. He pleaded guilty to 2 counts of perjury related to Trump's New York civil fraud case. He acknowledged lying under oath about Trump's inflated asset values, the financial statements Trump used to present himself as wealthier than reality supported, thereby securing better terms from banks and more favorable coverage from insurance companies. Perhaps most significantly, Weisselberg admitted he lied while testifying during Trump's civil fraud trial itself. This wasn't ancient history or a deposition from years past. This was Weisselberg taking the witness stand during an active legal proceeding and deliberately providing false testimony about the financial statements at the heart of the case. The perjury Weisselberg committed served a clear purpose: boosting Trump's image and borrowing power. Trump's entire financial identity rests on the perception that he's extraordinarily wealthy, a billionaire many times over, one of America's richest individuals. That image isn't merely about satisfying Trump's ego, though observers note plenty of that exists. The perception of wealth forms the foundation of his business model. When Trump approaches banks for loans or insurance companies for coverage, his perceived net worth directly affects the terms he receives. Wealthier individuals qualify for better interest rates. More valuable properties command better insurance terms. The financial incentive to appear as wealthy as possible on paper is enormous. What prosecutors demonstrated in the civil fraud case, and what Weisselberg's perjury plea confirms, is that Trump's organization systematically inflated asset values on financial statements. They claimed properties were worth more than appraisals supported. They made representations about the size and value of holdings that didn't align with objective reality. When confronted about these discrepancies in court, Weisselberg lied under oath, attempting to maintain the fiction. He committed a serious crime, perjury, specifically to protect the narrative that Trump possessed the wealth he publicly claimed. That's not political spin or partisan interpretation. That's what Weisselberg admitted when he entered his guilty plea. Legal analysts point to 2 major implications of Weisselberg's plea for the broader legal landscape surrounding Trump. First, it sends an unmistakable message to other potential witnesses: there are real consequences for lying under oath. Weisselberg is going to prison. That reality focuses the mind wonderfully when other Trump associates consider whether to provide truthful testimony or risk their own freedom protecting the former president. Second, since Weisselberg has been an incooperative witness regarding other matters, including detailed knowledge about the hush money payment to Stormy Daniels and discussions with Michael Cohen about structuring that payment. Prosecutors now have powerful ammunition to discredit him if he attempts to provide testimony favorable to Trump. But the story extends far beyond Weisselberg. Legal experts and investigative journalists have conducted exhaustive reviews of Trump's history of sworn testimony spanning decades. The pattern they've uncovered is remarkable in its consistency. Repeatedly, Trump makes claims under oath that prove false or misleading when compared against documents and other evidence. He overstates his wealth. He understates his knowledge of questionable dealings. He contradicts statements he made in previous depositions. He makes assertions about business transactions that don't match written records. This isn't an occasional slip or isolated incident. It's a pattern appearing across multiple legal proceedings over many years. Judges have noticed this pattern and haven't hesitated to express skepticism about Trump's credibility. Throughout various proceedings, judges have questioned Trump's truthfulness, noted discrepancies in his testimony, and imposed sanctions when they determined he was playing games with the truth. The judge in the civil fraud case found that Trump and his organization engaged in persistent fraud. While that wasn't specifically a perjury finding, it established that the financial statements at the center of the case were deliberately misleading. When your chief financial officer pleads guilty to lying under oath about those same financial statements, the picture becomes crystal clear. The legal exposure Trump faces regarding potential perjury charges is serious and deserves careful examination. Perjury is a felony in both federal and state courts. Conviction can result in years of imprisonment, not months, but years. Unlike some crimes that might result in fines or probation for first-time offenders, perjury is treated with severity because it strikes at the integrity of the entire legal system. Courts cannot function if people lie under oath. Judges cannot render fair decisions if witnesses aren't providing truthful testimony. When prosecutors pursue perjury charges, they're not simply punishing a specific lie. They're defending the fundamental concept that sworn testimony must be reliable. For Trump personally, the perjury question creates unique danger. His other legal problems, the federal cases, various state indictments, even his New York conviction, all involve complex legal questions about intent, official acts, and precisely what constitutes criminal conduct. Skilled defense attorneys can construct arguments around these complexities, creating doubt about whether specific elements of crimes have been proven. But perjury is clean and simple. Either you told the truth under oath or you didn't. Either your sworn statements align with documentary evidence or they contradict it. There's limited room for creative legal maneuvering when you're caught in a demonstrable lie under oath. The culture of dishonesty that Weisselberg's plea reveals is equally important for understanding the broader Trump picture. This wasn't a rogue employee independently deciding to commit perjury. This was the chief financial officer, one of the most senior executives in the organization, lying under oath specifically to protect Trump's inflated wealth narrative. That suggests the dishonesty wasn't an aberration but rather a feature of how the organization operated. If the CFO felt comfortable committing perjury to boost Trump's image, what does that reveal about the organizational culture? What does it suggest about what Trump expected from his top employees? The political implications are equally profound. Trump has built his brand on being a straight-talking truth-teller who says what others fear to say. His supporters believe he's authentic and honest with them, even when he's crude, offensive, or politically incorrect. But the court record reveals something starkly different. It shows an organization where lying under oath was normalized to the point that the CFO did it routinely. It shows a pattern of sworn testimony that doesn't align with documentary evidence. It shows judges questioning Trump's credibility and expressing skepticism about his truthfulness. The "tell it like it is" candidate apparently struggles to tell it like it is when he's under oath and facing legal consequences. Looking forward, the perjury cloud surrounding Trump will continue expanding. Prosecutors now have Weisselberg's cooperation and testimony. They possess years of documented sworn statements from Trump himself. They have pattern evidence showing repeated discrepancies. Whether they decide to bring actual perjury charges against Trump depends on numerous factors: legal strategy, political considerations, the strength of specific evidence. But the foundation for such charges clearly exists and grows stronger with every guilty plea from Trump's associates. The next chapters of this story will be critical. Will prosecutors pursue perjury charges against Trump directly? Will other witnesses follow Weisselberg's path and admit they lied to protect Trump? Will Trump's pattern of questionable sworn testimony finally catch up with him? The answers to these questions could determine not just Trump's legal fate, but the broader principle of whether powerful individuals can escape accountability while those around them take the fall. What's undeniable is this: Trump's longtime CFO admitted he committed crimes by lying under oath about Trump's finances. That's not allegation, that's conviction, and it raises the question that won't go away. If the CFO was lying under oath about Trump's wealth, was Trump lying too?